Welcome everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Before we start, hit the like, hit the subscribe, show me some love, help me reach my first 100. Let's get into it. We talking about Chicago today, right? Listen, you get what you vote for. These guys out here playing fast and loose with the taxpayer money. They doing whatever they feel like. You know, just recently he did like $80,000 on a offer for his wife. And then he trying to pull a fast one in the budget, trying to give his vice mayor $400,000 a year. Now, I looked it up. This guy make $146,000 a year. How could you justify that big of a raise? He makes like 20, 25, 30 or something like that, the mayor himself. So what was he going to give himself in that budget? Anyway, I think they need DOGE over there. DOGE need to come over there and go through their finances and see where the money went. Because they talking about they're in $1 billion in debt. They're $1 billion in debt. 5 plus 100 million is towards the immigrant crisis, the migrant crisis, right? And for some weird reason, I believe it's some shiftiness. Some shiftiness is happening. They need to get audited. Somebody go through their books and see what's going on. Let's see what happened right here.
Tonight, some more calls for transparency over exactly how much the city of Chicago is spending to care for and to house more than 14,000 migrants.
As aldermen demand more oversight, the city of Chicago has denied a request for more records from NBC5 Investigates. Bennett Haberly joins us now with more on that story. Bennett.
Marion and Stefan, for months we've been asking for more space.
What you got to hide, man? You ain't got nothing to hide. You on the up and up, right? You ain't got nothing to hide, right? These guys, boy, I tell you.
Sending receipts like this since we first learned staffers working to care for migrants in the city billed the city of Chicago for anywhere between $135 to $200 an hour. Since August of last year, the city of Chicago has paid a Kansas-based company, Favorite Healthcare Staffing, more than $57 million. The company, with a satellite office on the northwest side, holds the contract to provide staffing for migrant shelters across Chicago. In an effort to follow how those dollars have been spent, NBC5 Investigates filed a Freedom of Information Act request asking for a year's worth of invoices. But this letter shows the city has denied our request as unduly burdensome, noting there are 498 payment vouchers that require redactions, and that would take 124 hours of staff time, posing an immense burden. A burden so large, the city says, that it outweighs the public interest in the information.
Yeah, Chicago. That's what you voted for. Y'all serious? Y'all left Miss Lightfoot, whatever her name was, the lady, to go vote somebody else in who just as bad, maybe worse, right? What are they trying to hide? I think I'm in the wrong business. I can make $200 an hour just walking around the building doing nothing. Boy, I tell you.
Curious is that before this denial letter, the city already provided us with these two invoices, showing with overtime, a nurse at this High Ridge YMCA shelter earned $20,000 in a week.
What?
During that same week last December, a shelter manager made $14,000.
This requires a
Yo, $20,000 in a week? They definitely money laundering. Say it with me, kickbacks. That's what it is. I think they had like 28 migrant centers or something like that, right? Over there. So how many this people had control of? 57 million? 20,000 a week? That's what y'all paid for. Really? Yeah, y'all stay with the Democrats and see what happens. Y'all will go under. A big city like yours, a big city like theirs, they will suffer even more. Schools gonna keep closing. Aid to mental health people gonna keep closing. Oh, boy, I tell you, man, y'all gotta vote different, man. Democrats, bad with money. Real bad with money.
Great deal of attention, a lot more transparency. The fact that news organizations are only given 1 or 2 invoices when they've requested thousands of them, to me, is unconscionable.
Alderman Brendan Riley represents the...
They mistakenly gave him that too. That's exactly what happened. They give him that too, and they're like, oh, no. Who did that? And then they start stonewalling. Yeah. But the cat's out the bag. If one person get 20,000 in 1 week, what about the rest of the staff? That one person gonna work by themselves? Yeah.
42nd Ward, that includes the Inn of Chicago, a migrant shelter that now hosts more than 1,500 people. Riley is among a growing chorus of city leaders concerned about transparency with city spending.
The city council has a role in appropriating monies like this for programs like this. And the fact that we've all been left in the dark about the costs per hour for staff for these facilities, I think, is insane.
What we do know, with 498 payment vouchers totaling $57 million, that works out to an average of $115,000 per invoice. When I asked Mayor Johnson last week about this perceived lack of transparency, he said this.
So let me just make sure that you're clear and everybody else is clear here.
All right.
Every single Monday, there's a conversation with alders who are part of a working group.
Okay.
Every Friday, there's an email that is sent so all the alders could see it.
Okay.
We have released information providing the details of the fact that when we appropriated the first $51 million, I was the person that said that the vast majority of it went to staffing.
While copies of 2 recent alderman briefings obtained by NBC5 Investigates do reference upcoming contracts and migrants' needs, they do not show specific information on dollars spent.
Wow.
Now, the city's finance department asked us to narrow the scope of our records request, something that we did today in hopes of seeing more invoices like this. We'll keep you posted on that. We also reached out again to Favorite Staffing for comment, but haven't heard back.
You see what's going on? Stonewalling. Now we can't give it to you because we got to redact it, and it's going to take too... Not that it can be redacted, you know. They saying it's going to take too long and too much man hours to redact it. And the employees that will have to redact it, it's going to bring undue burden onto them. Basically saying, we ain't giving y'all ish. We're not going to let the public know what we're doing. We mistakenly gave you the other invoice. Yeah. But that is when, a time like this, it's when you say, you know how that little thing come up? 1 year later. Let's see what happened 1 year later. Ready? Let's get to it.
Now to NBC5 Investigates, which for months has followed the money trail tied to Chicago's migrant mission. Total spending now tops more than $400 million.
Now, despite the creation of a city spending website, it's still not exactly clear where all of that money has gone. In his follow-up report, investigative reporter Bennett Haberly uncovers some new information not shared by the city.
Check under your mayor's bed. That's where some of the money went. Under his bed.
Consider these numbers. More than 6,000 people still live in city-run migrant shelters. That means costs are still adding up. Since August of 2022, the city of Chicago has spent more than $400 million, according to the city's spending website. Nearly $253 million went to one private company, Kansas-based Favored Healthcare Staffing, which staffs the shelters. Another $76 million went to Equitable Social Solutions. That company partnered with another called ReloShare, which helped identify and sign lease agreements with property owners of the buildings that eventually became the migrant shelters.
That's where a number of those leases are.
But when we asked the city months ago for copies of these lease agreements, we were given just 9 out of 27. The use of these private companies has helped mask from public view where the public dollars have flowed. What we didn't know until now is how much the property owners of the migrant shelters were earning.
You know, like in the movies, when you see this type of things happening, they call them shell companies. That's when you're money laundering. Yeah, you siphoning the money behind the scenes where a regular Joe Schmo like you and me, we can't go and do all this extra digging to get in there. That's why we need DOGE. DOGE. Chicago DOGE 2025. That's what we need. DOGE in Chicago. Yeah. DOGE. Yeah. Because something fishy's happening behind the scenes. I say kickbacks. Kickbacks. That's what's happening.
But thanks to a new lawsuit, we're being provided some more clarity. A lending company filed this lawsuit last month against 2 Chicago developers, alleging they did not make it clear when they signed a loan agreement that the building in the West Loop would be used to house migrants. What is not in dispute is that the owners of the Ogden shelter are paid $150,000 a month by ReloShare as part of a use agreement. That means in a year's time, they'd receive more than $1.8 million. The lease agreement also calls for additional payments of up to $400,000 if the number of migrants inside the Ogden shelter exceeds 650. The latest figures show more than 700 people still live here. If there are public dollars involved, shouldn't the public know where they flow?
100%.
Back in March, Alderman Andre Vasquez, the chair of the City Council's Migrant Committee, told us aldermen themselves have had a hard time accounting for all the spending.
See? He talking about, oh, we sent an email and all these different things, and the people who got the emails still don't know what's in there. They don't know where the money going. All they know is like, okay, this is happening. Okay. That's all they could say because no information. And that's city officials don't even know. Ha. Poor Chicago.
Still the question that's out there. When we attempted to ask Mayor Brandon Johnson about this at the time, he said this.
Again, we're meeting you right where you are.
Were it not for this new lawsuit, the public would have no idea how much these property owners are earning.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you.
We pressed the mayor about this last week and asked if he would consider adding the information to the city's website. He said this.
We have given an accurate account of how dollars have been spent.
That's it? Is there anything that would preclude your administration from sharing that level of detail?
There's no information that has been kept from you.
Johnson then reiterated talking points he's made before, how he's renegotiated contracts to save taxpayer money, and how Congress has failed to provide additional financial relief. He also doubled down, incorrectly stating that all spending information is available.
That information is available to you, sir.
Not all of it, though, is, sir. I mean, that's
Can you
the point.
give me a specific example of what's not available?
The Ogden shelter in the West Loop, that's what is spelled out in this lawsuit, that they get $150,000 just for being the property owner per month. Nowhere is that available on the city's spending website. My question, again, is simply, is there anything that would preclude you from including that level of detail? You guys have said you're transparent. Why not show it?
All of the information.
Who's that reporter? That's some good journalism right there. See what I'm talking about? Ask them the hard questions. Watch him. He started going all politician on him. Everything we put on the website, no. What about health aid? What about food? What about, you see what I'm talking about? You ain't put all these things on the site. People don't know where this money going. They don't. In New York, we found out because somebody in the grocery store started snitching, showing receipts online and stuff. It's like, whoa, that's the amount of money they getting? These people was getting $350 a week on the low end. Yeah, on the low end for food. And just today, somebody brought to my attention, make me think about it, like, they got this app, this CBT app or whatever for the asylum stuff. Who's paying that phone bill? The government paying that phone bill. That's the type of money, that's our money, the taxpayer money going to that. See what I'm saying? Man, this is hilarious. This guy gonna keep dancing and dancing.
The spending to this mission is available.
That's where we left it.
See?
We have checked over and over again to see if additional information was added to the city's website.
Nothing.
If it is, we'll let you know.
I'm trying to keep this video kind of short, so I'm going to end it with this right here.
We are $1 billion in debt. That's absolutely insane. Kamala Harris, she spent $1 billion on her campaign less than a year, and she's $20 million in debt. So it's looking like Democrats are bad with money.
We want a forensic
Ma'am, I would
audit.
ask that you
want
keep
a
your,
forensic
hold on a
audit.
second.
Forensic audit. That's what they need. Somebody come sift through the books, see where that money went. Yeah. You want to get your boy a big boy raise, give yourself a big boy raise. You want to do an office night for your wife, $80,000? Really? Really? Listen, man. DOGE, Chicago corner, you need to jump in a van with Holman when he going up on the 21st? On the 21st. And go check them out. This was another one. As I always say, I love you guys. Peace till the next one.